Okay. All right. Well, welcome to the Citizens Redistricting Commission hearing. You know, this is the 9th one that we've had. They've been throughout the state. We got a few more to go. And for the welcoming you here, we've asked our commissioner, who just happens to live in this town, to say some welcoming remarks, and then we'll start the meeting. Commissioner Raya.
Good evening. It is such a pleasure for me to welcome you to our city, especially to this beautiful historic venue. And I want to thank the Mayor, David Gutierrez, and the City Council for making this possible, and for the Managing Director, Anna Cross, the Managing Director of the Playhouse, and her staff for all the services that they've provided. You can see it takes a lot to get this show going on the road. Fortunately, I only had to cross the street tonight, so it was pretty easy, but I think I'm the one that came least prepared. Anyway, we're very happy to be doing what we're doing. I know there are a lot of my friends from the community who have come tonight, some to hear and some to speak, and it's very gratifying for us when we actually get out with the public to hear so much testimony about what's important to you as citizens. We're all committed to doing this job the best that we can. It's a historic opportunity, and we want to thank you for being here. I'd like to introduce the Mayor of San Gabriel, David Gutierrez.
Good evening. Chairman Vince Baraba, members of the Commission, it is truly an honor for me to be here this evening and welcome you to our very beautiful city of San Gabriel. I, at this time, would like to take the opportunity of inviting my colleagues up to introduce them as well. Vice Mayor Kevin Sawkins, Councilmember Julie Costanzo, Councilmember Mario De La Torre. And the reason I asked them to flank me here this evening is that we take a great deal of pride not only in our city, but being a very cohesive council. Unfortunately, our newest council member couldn't be with us this evening, but I and we want to welcome you, as well as all of the people of the San Gabriel region who have joined us this evening for such a historic and wonderful opportunity for the city of San Gabriel to partner with this historic commission. So I applaud you individually and collectively for all of the time and effort that you're putting into this great endeavor, and I look forward to being educated this evening as to the process and listening to the input that our wonderful constituents have to offer this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The mayor's comment relative to this historic building is very appropriate for this particular subject, because this is a historic event in the sense that, to the best of our knowledge, since this country's been founded, this is probably the first time that a group of citizens is going to draw the lines for their representative districts. And I just can't think of a more impressive building in which to have the conversation. It is really quite beautiful. The process that we've gone through is really quite a long one, and I first of all would like you to meet the rest of the commissioners, and because one of the things that we found is that when all the audiences are really quite diverse, and we've often heard from them, it's nice to have a commission that's as diverse as the audience. And so let me start off by asking Commissioner Malloy. Connie.
Good evening. Good evening. I'm Connie Galambos-Malloy. I'm visiting from Oakland, California. I have quite a bit of family in Southern California, and am really pleased. San Gabriel is one part of Southern California that I have known very little, and it's really wonderful and a beautiful day to enjoy your city. I'm an urban planner, mother of small children, who I hope to see much more of in August once we complete this task.
Hello, my name is Michelle DeGiulio, and I reside in Stockton and San Joaquin County, just south of Sacramento, though I was born and raised in Ventura, so familiar with the Southland as well. In a previous life, I was a community and urban planner, and particularly in the Central Valley, but now with 4 small children, the oldest of whom is 8 years old, I'm a stay-at-home mom and quite busy. And it's something that I look forward to someday when they get old enough to be able to tell them what an amazing experience this is and how proud I am to be a part of this process.
Good evening. My name is Stan Forbes, and I'm a Yolo County farmer. I also own an independent bookstore in Sacramento, California, and I'm just very pleased to be here. Although I went to college in Southern California and graduated high school in Los Angeles, I've never been to San Gabriel, so I really appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I really look forward to hearing what you have to say.
Good evening. My name is Peter Yao. I live about 25 miles from here when there's no traffic on the road. 25 minutes from here when there's no traffic on the road. I'm a retired engineer, retired for about 5 years now. Let's see, what else? Been involved with the commission since November. I was among the first 8 that were drawn by the bingo ball process, a random process. So we consider ourselves the lucky ones. And then the first 8 picked the remaining 6, and those are the chosen ones. So very glad to be here, and looking forward to hearing from you all.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. My name is Andre Parvenu, and I live in Culver City, just a little west of here, where there's plenty of traffic on the road between here and there. But I passed through San Gabriel a number of times, but I have not had an opportunity to walk the streets. You have a very pleasant village, downtown, atmosphere, beautiful city. And I really appreciate being here this evening, and I welcome and am looking forward to your testimony. I'm employed as an urban planner for the city of Los Angeles, so I have a regional outlook. I work for the MTA, where we run buses through the San Gabriel Valley, so I'm familiar with the territory, terrain, more so than the people. Tonight I'm looking forward to meeting the people. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Cynthia Dye, and I hail from the city and county of San Francisco, so I've been enjoying that great yellow ball in the sky called the sun down here. By day, I'm a management consultant. I run my own firm and service high-tech firms in Silicon Valley as well as social enterprises. And I also teach at UC Berkeley. So I'm very happy to hear your testimony tonight.
I'm trying to, it's really heavy. Good evening, my name is Maria Blanco. I am a recent arrival to Los Angeles after living in the Bay Area for many, many years. I live in the city of LA, and I work at the California Community Foundation, a charitable foundation that services LA County, as the Vice President of Civic Engagement. And this week, we've been in LA all week, and I can't think of a better immersion course for me as a newcomer to Southern California and to LA than we've been in Long Beach, San Gabriel, now we're going to San Fernando, Lancaster, and tonight here. So this is our whirlwind tour.
Good evening. My name is Jody Filkins Weber. I reside in Norco, which is a small town known as Horsetown, USA. It's located in western Riverside County. I've primarily lived here in Southern California area my entire life. I'm a practicing attorney, self-employed. My office is in Orange. I practice throughout all the courts pretty much in Southern California. I appreciate you being here this evening. I look forward to hearing from your testimony this evening. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Angelo Anchetta. I'm a resident of San Francisco. I teach at the law school at Santa Clara University, which is just outside of San Jose. I'm a frequent visitor to Los Angeles. I went to school down here and also lived here for work, so I'm very happy to be back in the area and looking forward to hearing your comments tonight. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay. I'm Gil Ontai. I'm an architect. I'm former city redevelopment agent, director, and a planning commissioner. I am impressed by this city. And as an architect, I can say that this building is just beautiful. It's just rich with architectural features. So I just want to say that we're very privileged and honored to be here.
Buenas tardes. Good afternoon. My name is Gabino Aguirre. I'm from Ventura County, Santa Paula, California, citrus capital of the world. We are certainly glad to be here tonight. We have been, as just mentioned, through parts of California, and we hope to cover it all soon. And it's really incredible how the community is really engaging, because this is what it's all about, is to have the community speak to us and share their desires and their wishes for fair and just political districts. So we want to thank you for being here this afternoon.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Vince Baraba. I went to school here in Los Angeles, junior high, and moved out to the San Fernando Valley. And at one point in my career, I was the director of the Census Bureau, so I had to leave the state. But we're very happy to be back. I live in Capitola, California, which is in Santa Cruz County. I want to also recognize our staff who has been with us on all of these trips, and their work effort is just beyond comprehension. And I think you might have seen our executive director, Dan Claypool, as you came in the door, but up front here is Janice Sargis, and I guess Lon is back there as well. And we have a young, new person working with us from the Coro Foundation, Andrew DeVlock, and Andrew will be assisting Janice tonight. So if you have any materials that you want to have handed out to our group, you could just give the signal to Andrew there, and he'll come down the steps and get them from you. Also with us tonight is the staff of the group that we retained to provide the technical consultation on the actual drawing of the maps. And with us to introduce her group is Anna Henderson from Q2. Anna?
Can't hear you.
Yep. Yep. We didn't hire them for their microphone technology.
Good evening. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. Just real quickly, I'm joined this evening by Bonnie Glazer. Where's Bonnie? And Nicole Boyle. And what we'll be doing this evening is taking down the information that you provide to the Commission, and at the Commission's direction showing information on the maps that you see on the screen here. If you have maps that you've brought in, we can try to digitize them for you. Give them to us, please, but please understand it'll take a little while for us to get them into our software and make sure that they're right. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Well, I would give you a very brief description of the process that we're going to go through so you have an understanding of how this kind of a meeting fits into the entire process. We plan to release our first draft maps after we go through these input hearings, and that will take place on June 10th. And then there's a 14-day noticing period where people could have an opportunity to react directly to us through email or if we have a meeting in the area. And then we go to work on making adjustments based on the feedback that we get. And we release the second set of draft maps on July 7th, and we go through a similar process. And then on the 28th of July, we release the final draft maps. And again, the public has an opportunity to comment on those. And then by August 15th, based on all the input that we've had, all the feedback that we get relative to these initial maps, this commission, as a commission, certifies the maps and reports them to the Secretary of State by August 15th. And I can only assure you that every member of this commission can hardly wait for that date. The other thing that I think most of you had when you came in was a guidebook. And that's a really important document for you to have because there's very important references in there. And the one that I want to just bring to your attention this evening is that on pages 3 and 4 of the guidebook, it lists the number of districts that we will be required to draw. That's 53 congressional districts, 40 state senate, 80 assembly, and 4 Board of Equalization districts. And the important part of that handout in your guidebook, in your guide there, is the numbers that are associated, population numbers that are associated with those districts. So for a congressional district, the population, the target is 702,905 people. And the state senates is 931,349. The reason I'm bringing those forward is that based on the meetings that we've had so far, one of the things we continue to hear is that people say, keep my county or keep my city whole. Now, when you see the size of the population number of these districts, and you have a rough idea of what your community size is, as you say, keep us whole, if you could also give us an indication who you would like your neighbors to be in that district as well. That would be insightful to us as we bring those numbers forward. I want to also point out that we really operate in this commission in a very nonpartisan way. In fact, the chairmanship and the vice chairmanship, which in this case the vice chair is Commissioner Dye, is a rotating activity. So there's no one person who is the chair of this commission. All commissioners have the opportunity to become the chair, and we always try to have the vice chair and the chair in that rotation, so that we have a continuation of the meeting agendas. The other thing we've made available is as a person who could provide translation in the Spanish language, and in this case it's Ana Maria Garcia, and Ana Maria is there. And the last time I asked anybody if they needed translation, I asked them in English, and we thought that was probably inappropriate. So we've asked Ana Maria to make this request.
Buenas tardes. Cualquier persona que necesite interpretación, voy a estar sentada aquí adelante. Con gusto le puedo ayudar.
Okay. And then to get the meeting started, for those of you who have indicated a willingness to speak, you were given a number. And we will call those numbers, and we would ask you then to come up to the microphone here. And given the number of cards that we've handed out, we're going to limit the conversation to 2 minutes. And I would tell you that we've been doing this now for 2 or 3 meetings, and most people are able to get their point across in 2 minutes. If by chance you're not able to say everything you wanted to say, if you would submit to Janice, if you have a written statement, you could submit it now, or you could send in a email or by mail your full statement, and when you put it in, if you would also indicate the number at which you'll be speaking from. I think that pretty much covers the most important points. And we really look forward to this. And from what I can see, it's going to be a rather long evening. So we would appreciate your being as brief and as concise as possible. And for those, if we call number 1, it would be nice if number 2, 3, and 4 would come up and sit in the seats close to the dais, so we don't waste any time when the next person comes up. Any commissioners have any questions or thoughts? Okay, Janice, let it roll.
Number 1.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Daniel Rossman. I live in Eagle Rock, Los Angeles, California. Forgive me for addressing you as a body and not naming each of you individually, but 2 minutes. I wanted to talk to you today about the inclusion of federal public lands in congressional district boundaries. Public lands, because few people actually live in them, are often an afterthought in how you draw the lines, and historically have been added on afterwards, or at worst have been used to create contiguity where otherwise disparate communities existed. This has a profound impact on how federal public lands are managed. because in Congress, it's often given differential treatment to the member who represents those lands. And that member isn't necessarily connected with the communities of interest that are most concerned with their management. For the San Gabriel Mountains, which are just north of these communities here, those communities are easy to identify as the communities south of the Angeles National Forest and the San Bernardino National Forest. These communities have the greatest concern with their management for a couple of reasons. One, they're the ones recreating in these places. 90% of recreation in the Angeles Forest comes from communities to the south. They also get a large amount of drinking water from these important watersheds. A third of LA County's drinking water comes from the San Gabriel Mountains, and that percentage is greater in the San Gabriel Valley. Fire, floods, and general management of the lands are also of great importance. So for you, this may be one of the easiest things to fix because, again, there are not many people living there. The solution is to simply draw in the boundaries of those communities of interest to the south and then draw that boundary to the top of the public lands north of those people. So in conclusion, it's important to include communities of interest most concerned with the management of public lands by including those communities to the south in those federal congressional districts.
Okay. Any questions?
Do you have some? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Do you have some public lands in mind? Are you thinking of?
Yeah, so specifically, I'm talking about the Angeles National Forest, which covers most of the San Gabriel Mountain Range, and then there's a bit of the San Bernardino National Forest that also is north of the communities of Upland, Rancho Cucamonga. It follows the county line, and as you'll see, when it comes to geography, the political boundaries don't always make sense. So the county line cuts this range in half, but I would argue that the communities of interest are those south of the range.
Could you give us a starting and end point for those communities?
Sure. And so the chairman asked me to consider, too, how many people are in these communities. So, while I would say this would extend from La Cañada to Rancho Cucamonga, you're going to have to draw several communities of interest. And I would argue that there are parts of communities in the sort of La Cañada to Pasadena area going north, an area including communities along the San Gabriel River and going north, and then perhaps an eastern district as well.
For the purpose of the contiguity and the compactness, would it be, in your mind, appropriate to break up the different public lands?
Right. So my argument is that when you're thinking of contiguity and compactness, it should most apply to people. So in this case, we have large amounts of open space with very few people, and there are some communities that will be included in these districts, like Mount Baldy Village. You should be thinking about the largest number of people and concerned with connecting those people that are concerned with the management of these public lands. And so in that way, it results in having to break up a few different congressional districts for the public lands.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I would like to point out that was the first time I think that's been brought to our commission.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Number two.
We really appreciate having you here tonight, and my name is John Munson, and I was born in Pasadena. I'm a frequent visitor to the Angeles National Forest, and I wanted to talk specifically about one of the examples that the previous speaker talked about. Every day, Pasadena residents can look north and appreciate the city's scenic backdrop, the San Gabriel Mountains. These same residents also look north into a different congressional district than the one they live in. This is particularly disconcerting given Pasadena's intimate relationship with the range. The city is built on sediments deposited over thousands of years from streams running south from the San Gabriel Mountains. Over 100 years ago, Pasadena began as a resort destination for their background range, serving as a gateway to the San Gabriels. It still is. Pasadena has an extensive trail system that leads directly from the city into the mountains. The range is a source of tourist dollars for local businesses. It is a major source of Pasadena's drinking water. Fires and floods that originate in the mountains are an annual danger. Cities directly adjacent to Pasadena include Glendale and La Cañada, among others, and these cities share this intimate relationship with the San Gabriel Mountains. We believe that these cities form a community of interest based most especially on their relationship to the San Gabriel Mountains. All these cities are that's Glendale, La Cañada, and Pasadena, are located along a major gateway to the forest, the Angeles Crest Highway. They benefit economically from the range. They share a common geographical orientation to the mountains, and their residents are frequent visitors. These three cities also share common concerns about the management of the range, including fire and fuels, watershed protection, improvements in recreational quality, and many other factors. We ask you, when you do your redistricting, to include this community of interest in the same congressional district as the San Gabriel Mountains to the north that are the object of this interest.
Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Lean in here. We have also gotten, I think, a fair amount of public feedback that for economic reasons largely, that Glendale, Burbank, and Pasadena should be considered as a community of interest. I'm curious on your feedback around adding Burbank into this cluster that you've suggested with La Cañada.
That would certainly make sense, and I think that I was giving you the heart of the cities that have the strongest ties, but Burbank also fits in there, and Burbank does, for reasons unrelated to my presentation, those cities do fit together. They have joint jurisdictions, airport jurisdictions, a lot of other things. Burbank being a little further away, maybe the case about their relationship to the mountains is a little weaker, but they would all make good neighbors in a district that aimed north across and included the San Gabriel Mountains.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just want to make one other announcement, is that for the speakers, is that Janice has a little card that says you got 30 seconds left, and if you want to avoid that beeping sound, you should try to finish before 2 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Rosie Martinez. I am a grandmother, a registered nurse, a resident of Alhambra, and I have grandchildren that live with me that attend the Alhambra School District. I believe the communities of the West San Gabriel Valley should be kept together so that elected officials will be responsive to our needs. We are a community of interest in keeping with regard to the educational system in Alhambra, which is one of the best in the San Gabriel Valley. The economic development is very important to us because it makes our community vibrant and strong. Economic partnerships are also important in this area because they are creating a sustainable and very important community. Health services is an important issue for me as a registered nurse, and we do have one large medical center and another small one, and we also are in need of the clinics that service our community. As a retired citizen, I am also interested in keeping the senior citizen centers and the services that they provide. In addition, we want our water district shared and kept as one. We want our community to stay as is, to be whole. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Actually, I do have a question, and this is the testimony is wonderful to be able to get someone who's from a particular location that tells us they'd like to keep their community together. But I'm curious if you have any perspective on Alhambra. It looks to be about a population of about 83,000.
Yes.
And in order to, with that number, you're going to have to be combined with someone else. And since you have, this is your opportunity, I'd be curious to hear if you have any suggestions for whom you'd like to be combined with, because we can use the testimony in the future to help us to know what other communities around you feel are most connected to.
Well, I think that the community of certainly South Pasadena, San Gabriel, and Monterey Park have kind of shared the same kind of interest, community of interest, in that the school district is an important part of, many of us live in this community because of the school district. We moved into this community because of the school district and the services that are provided. Now, as a retired citizen, I'm concerned about the senior centers and the senior services. So if I had a choice, I would certainly stay as is, but if I were to combine it, I would certainly look to those communities that are close by.
And just as a reminder, the first number for the Assembly District, the minimum is 465,000 people.
Mhm.
So we do have to.
Right, and I believe that we are part of
that.
that. I believe the San Gabriel, Alhambra, Monterey Park does share the same Assembly District. And the Congressional District does extend out to even Altadena, Pasadena.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 4.
If we get number 5 and 6 and 7 start moving towards the front, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Buenas tardes, mi nombre es Violeta.
Good afternoon, my name is Violeta.
Y yo vengo de la comunidad del este de Los Ángeles.
I am here from the East LA community.
Tengo 2 babies.
I have 2 babies.
Pues estoy aquí porque creo que los vecindarios del este de Los Ángeles.
I am here because I think the neighborhoods in East LA,
El Sereno, Boyle Heights, Highland Park, y Lincoln Heights,
and Lincoln Heights,
sean parte de una comunidad más grande.
for them to be part of a bigger community.
En estas comunidades hay eventos que nos unen,
In these communities, there's a lot of events that unite us,
como el desfile del Día de la Independencia Mexicana.
like Independence Mexican Day.
En el mes de septiembre.
That's in the month of September.
Todas nuestras comunidades se unen a ver el desfile.
All our communities gather together so that they can watch the parade.
No solo eso, pero la línea dorada del metro
Not only that, but also the Gold Line.
nos lleva a todas estas comunidades
They take us into all these communities
y a muchas otras partes.
and many other places as well.
También tenemos la intersección del este de Los Ángeles,
We also have the East Los Angeles intersection,
que consisten de los freeways 101, 60, 10 y 5.
which is made up of freeways, the 101, the 60, the 10, and the 5.
Estas intersecciones son bien importantes porque nos llevan a donde queramos
These
ir.
intersections are very important because they take us wherever we want to go to.
Por ejemplo, mi papá trabaja en Santa Mónica
For example, my father works in Santa Monica.
y él usa esta intersección a diario.
He uses this intersection daily.
También tenemos 2 hospitales,
We also have 2 hospitals,
el Hospital General y el White Memorial.
General Hospital as well as White Memorial.
Y es bien importante que esos 2 hospitales se queden en la comunidad,
It is very important for those 2 hospitals to remain in the community
porque la mayoría de los residentes de estas áreas
because the majority of the residents in this area,
somos de clase trabajadora
we belong to the working class.
y no tenemos suficiente dinero para poder comprar aseguranza
We don't have
médica
enough money to buy medical insurance
para toda la familia.
for the entire family.
Y en estos hospitales nos dan todos los servicios que necesitemos.
And at these hospitals, we offer all the services that we need.
Por ejemplo, yo llevo a mi hijo al Hospital General.
For example, I take my child to General Hospital.
Él es un niño con necesidades especiales.
He is a special child. He has special needs.
Y en el Hospital General me han dado la medicina,
And at the General Hospital, they have given me the medication,
las máquinas y el equipo que él ha necesitado.
the machines, devices, and the equipment that he needs.
Y pues todo gratis.
And everything has been free.
If you could just finish very shortly.
También tenemos centros comerciales,
We also have malls,
el Mercadito de Los Ángeles y las tiendas en las calles César Chávez.
El Mercadito in Los Angeles, and the stores along Cesar Chavez.
Ahí es donde nosotros compramos nuestras especies y comidas tradicionales.
It is there that we buy all our spices and our traditional foods.
También ahí vamos a comprar mucha de nuestra ropa y necesidades especiales.
We also go there to buy all of our clothing and a lot of our special needs.
We have to close down now. Thank you very much. Yeah, any questions? Okay, thank you.
Number 5.
Hello, Commissioner, can you hear me? Okay. My name is Salvador Vasquez. I'm a resident of Pasadena, California.
I really don't want to bore you with too many details, as Speaker 2 has in regards to Pasadena. But my community of interest is actually Altadena, Pasadena, and of course Altadena, Pasadena. And the reason being is I really never knew about lines being drawn or anything like that, since I'm just a regular working person, really not into politics or anything. But I see this affecting my community in the sense of I'm already seeing schools being closed down, us having to depend on La Cañada to take our kids and shuttle them. I'm starting to see things move, and not in good ways. I'm starting to see a lot of change that seems kind of different to me. Like I said, I've been living there for the last 35 years. I've been accustomed and familiarized with how things are. So I would like the Commission to consider keeping these communities that we're all very familiar with. Like I said, the fires that have happened up here in La Cañada have impacted us a lot in those communities. I've been up there volunteering, helping them out during the floods and whatnot, doing sandbags. I've met neighbors from, like I said, Altadena that have also joined in that and helping out. And, I really never knew there was it's funny, I'll just make it real quick. I was actually, like where I live at, I live in the Fair Oaks, Washington area, which is considered what they call the projects. And I was driving up this familiar street, ended up getting pulled over for infraction, and realized I was in Altadena. All that time, I always thought that was Pasadena. So I really never knew that all these cities were so close to each other. So with that, I'll just give my last 15 seconds to the next speakers. Thank you.
Thank you. Number 6.
Good evening, members of the Commission. My name is Bill Krim. I have lived and worked in the San Gabriel Valley foothills area most of my life. I'm here tonight to urge you to keep the Los Angeles County foothills communities from La Cañada to Claremont together as you make your redistricting decisions, particularly with regard to the federal congressional districts. The foothill communities of Claremont, Laverne, San Dimas, Glendora, Azusa, Irwindale, Duarte, Bradbury, Arcadia, Monrovia, Altadena, and La Cañada share many attributes. They hug the San Gabriel Mountains and are connected and largely defined by the 210 freeway. This community has common interests and interacts in the areas of work, transportation, including the 210 freeway, mass transit and the Gold Line, recreation, environmental issues including water and air quality, nonprofit community organizations, relationships to the Angeles National Forest, and schools. I do a great deal of volunteer work in the area of public education, particularly in Altadena. As public schools have been placed in greater and greater financial stress, I believe it is important for our schools to be connected to similar small communities along the foothills, because our voice tends to be lost when we are instead added on to large districts to the south, which then dominate decision-making. My first job when I was growing up was as a student worker in the Santa Anita Municipal Court in Monrovia. I first observed then that the 210 freeway connected and largely defined the greater communities of the foothills. Recently, when my wife's father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, we turned to the neighboring city of Hope Hospital in Duarte. A congressional district that keeps this Los Angeles County foothills community together will help ensure that our voices are not drowned out by being added on to the cities with different interests and concerns south of the foothills. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. We have a question.
Are you able to see the map, the kind of orange-ish area?
Yes.
Is that capturing the places that you said?
Yes, I also mentioned Arcadia to be contiguous. And, I would say that would be the core area. If you needed to add something to make the numbers work with population, and to make contiguous, you could take the top portion of Pasadena, which is actually currently in the there's a congressional district that includes that top area. If we needed to dip down, it would seem to me either Covina or Pomona would be possibilities. Also, Pasadena would be a possibility, although having lived in Pasadena and La Cañada, it would seem to me Pasadena, and by the way, La Cañada should be in the orange there. That should be consideration as a foothill community because of the thing. But it would seem to me Pasadena, there's a logic to having Pasadena, Burbank, and Glendale combined together. Alternatively, because if Pasadena gets lumped to that, I don't think you could also then include Glendale and Burbank, because I think you'd then have too many people. So I think somewhere a line has to be probably drawn there.
Any other questions? Thank you very much.
I think it's a good note, though, if you do go through communities very quickly, to make sure we capture them, you can always leave that material. Yeah, but I'm saying in the future, if we go through it very quickly, you can always leave that material with our technical team, too.
Number 7.
Good evening. My name is Sandra Hernandez, and I'd like to talk to you about what your document so nicely states about keeping my community whole and grouping it with nearby cities with similar interests. I'm speaking today of the community of La Puente. My son and I live in La Puente, and our family has been there for over 150 years. My immediate family and cousins, first, second, third cousins, all live in La Puente. And we normally see each other on the streets, in the market, school, and church. La Puente is low to middle class. And we want to stay whole because we need a voice. We need some TLC and some additional development, especially in our little downtown area. As such, we depend on West Covina and Covina to complete our community experience. So, for example, we do not have a hospital in La Puente, and so our births and our deaths and our illnesses have been experienced at Queen of the Valley in West Covina and Intercommunity Hospital in Covina. As far as education, my son has needed additional support, and so I've counted on the Sylvan Center in West Covina and the South Hills Academy for his academic and recreation during the summer. Excellent programs. In terms of the economic life, we don't have varied restaurants. We do not have a movie or a playhouse, so we go to West Covina to the lakes or to the Westfield Shopping Plaza along with their farmers market and the Eastland Mall in Covina. We also, as far as religion goes, we're very, very active in the churches, the Catholic churches in La Puente. Oh, sorry. If I could just finish? Yeah.
Just finish, please.
Okay, and in Covina and in West Covina. So we know mass schedules for the 6 different churches that are there, which is very helpful, especially when it comes to confession time, and I don't want to make a confession in La Puente. So I'd like to thank you for your time, and thank you for this opportunity, and thank you for your work.
Any
Bye-bye.
questions? Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Number 8.
Good evening. My name is Betty Madden. I've been a costume designer in the entertainment industry and have lived in the Linda Vista area, west of the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, since 1979. I consider my community to include La Cañada, Flint Ridge, and west to Tujunga and Sunland, south to Glendale, and east to Altadena and Sierra Madre. These communities are located along the 210 freeway and the Gold Line Metro La Brea. We are a diverse culture of residents, including Native Americans, Latinos, African Americans, people of Asian and Arab descent, and Midwesterners like myself, escaping the freezing winters. It's horse country to many, with acreage and horse trails traversed through all the foothill communities from Sunland to Sierra Madre. The Glendale Galleria and the Americana Shopping District, located in Glendale, provide for our shopping needs. The restaurants in these foothill communities reflect the neighborhood's cultural diversity, as well as it is reflected in the music and art scene in our communities. Descanso and the gardens and the LA Arboretum are a treasure and source of pleasure to these garden-loving people in the area. The horse trails, as well as walking paths everywhere along the Huamanga watershed area north of the Arroyo Seco, are a bird lover's paradise. Any time of day or night, you'll see people walking the Rose Bowl. The children have educational opportunities to go to Pasadena City College, California Institute of Technology, Caltech, home to NASA, and our wonderful Art and Design Center, turning out many future car designers. JPL, NASA, sits like a jewel north of the 210 freeway. Every May, the scientists open the doors to the children in our community, and thousands of children are encouraged to go into the field of science. These neighboring communities build the Rose Parade floats, all volunteers. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Number 9.
My name is Richard Wickland. I'm a retired school teacher, and I've lived in Pasadena for 32 years and love it there and wouldn't want to live anywhere else. I think at this time it's extremely important to keep the suburban communities of the West San Gabriel Valley together in the same district as much as possible. The West San Gabriel Valley runs from Eagle Rock in the west, La Cañada, Flint Ridge in the northwest, South Pasadena and Alhambra and Arcadia, Temple City, and North El Monte in the southwest. The suburbs of the West San Gabriel Valley are a natural choice to be clustered together because of their geography and their diversity. We are bordered by the San Gabriel Mountains on the north and the Puente Hills to the south, and the city of L.A. to the west, and San Bernardino County on the east. The West San Gabriel Valley is one of the most diverse areas in LA County, with significant proportions of the population speaking English, Spanish, several Asian languages. We are diverse linguistically and economically. We share a unique history, being the welcoming community to tens of thousands of immigrants and refugees from across Asia over the last 50 years. The West San Gabriel Valley's local governments are already connected by the San Gabriel Valley Council of Governments, which addresses and solves regional issues. Personally, my greatest pride comes from the rich world-renowned education and cultural experiences and opportunities we have here in this area. We have the California Institute of Technology for Scientists and Technologies. We have the Art Center of College and Design, which is putting out the finest automobile and industrial designers. Thank you very much for your time.
Any questions? Thank you very much, sir.
Number 10.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Dr. Eric Schockman. I am the Vice President for the California League of Conservation Voters Education Fund. And I'm here tonight to talk about the environmental districts that we would like you to think about vis-a-vis the San Gabriel Valley. Behind you, is a brief air quality map that I brought to show you the degradation of the water basin in the lower valleys, the orange being the highest propensity of degraded water. Next slide, please. While this slide is a little difficult to look at the numbers, on the right-hand side, you will see that the federal compliance for air quality ozone level in the East Valley and West Valley, based on both standards of federal and state levels, significantly higher. We argue that that's also a consideration for considering an environmental community of interest. Last slide. Finally, again, a bad slide, but the traffic and vehicle congestion in this area during peak rush hours is also a major concern to the Conservation League of Environmental Voters. And we do argue, in fact, that that should be looked at vis-a-vis your mapping. Let me conclude by basically, I left a letter with your staff. Each one of you will get it. Let me conclude with basically 2 points. One is there's really two interests of environmental interest. One is the foothills of San Gabriel Valley, which I think has been talked about by a previous speaker, and the second is the San Gabriel Valley itself, which really does have, as I think some of our demographics show, really does have an environmental community of interest that needs to be looked at and have a common representation.
Dr. Schuckman,
Yes.
Several times we've had conversations about the issue of, is it better to have one representative for a broad area, or sometimes is it better to have multiple representatives because it might be perceived as possibly more influential? Do you have a feeling on that issue?
Commissioner Barber, I always have seen in Sacramento, especially, I'm a commissioner, by the way, and I appreciate your time and diligence in giving up your lives. I'm a commissioner for the Post-Secondary Ed Commission. I'm also chair at this juncture, and I know what it is in Sacramento vis-a-vis representation of environmental communities as well. When I listen to members who are sort of washed between different districts, they tend to be a little weaker in their presentations about an environmental community of interest. I have seen champions in Sacramento who represent one district, one composite environmental mountain group or watershed group or air quality group that can stand forward and really speak as a standard bearer about that community. So I hope as you debate this, you really think deeply that dividing up communities of environmental interest really diffuse their import and stance, especially in legislative progression.
Any other questions?
One.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wait, I'm sorry, can I ask one? The foothill communities have been pretty well defined. Can you quickly define, in your terms, what San Gabriel Valley communities would be?
So if we can go back to that map that I think staff had previously with the previous speaker, with the foothills along the corridor, the 210 corridor. Thank you. So from La Cañada to Claremont is essentially the foothill communities of interest that we're looking at. I must also disagree with the former speaker that came up before. There seems to us to be a Voting Rights Act conflict that will come apparent, especially in the Arcadia above the 210 freeway. If you can sort of have a pointer up there, there's a little sort of a piece that goes up past the 210 freeway. You will probably run into a Voting Rights Act compressed district below that. Our position is you still can put together a foothills congressional district along that. And again, the watershed issues and the Angeles Crest, accessibility, the fire issues, all that makes sense to keep that district as one intact unit.
Okay, let me real fast. That's the foothills, which I've got.
Yes.
The San Gabriel Valley communities, which are not referenced. Could you just...
So the San Gabriel Valley communities I think we are deferring to the Voting Rights Act and the communities that will come before you, MALDUF and the Asian communities and the NAACP. But let me just say that this district in particular has the highest Superfund sites in the nation. Just remember, the San Gabriel Valley has the highest Superfund areas in the entire nation. So when you look at this as a community of interest, environmental issue, I think you need to, again, think deeply about what are the environmental degradation issues that also impact citizens of this district.
Dr. Schuckman, if you're in between your commission and your other work, if you could send us a copy that might indicate where these Superfund sites are, I'd appreciate it very much.
I will. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And please, speakers in the future, if you have materials, indicate to me at the podium and I'll come down and get them for you. Number 11.
Mr. Chairman and members of the Redistricting Commission, my name is John Wong, and I'm the Grand Vice President of the Chinese American Citizens Alliance. Thank you all for being here to listen to the people and citizens of the San Gabriel Valley. Historically, Asian American has been disenfranchised by the electoral redistricting process. To this end, the voters established the California Citizens Redistricting Commission so that districts will not be gerrymandered. The Greater San Gabriel Gabriel Valley Lodge of the Chinese American Citizens Alliance here is to present redistricting plans for State Assemblies 49 and 60, State Senate District 29, and Congressional District 32, which I think you already have. These redistricting proposals were developed to conform to the Supreme Court's mandated goals and commission requirements. These proposals reflect the purpose of the National Chinese American Citizens Alliance to defend the civil rights of Chinese Americans in particular and Asian Americans in general. We were established in 1895, having a history of 116 years with 18 lodges throughout these United States with these objectives. The current district in question do not meet the Supreme Court mandated goals nor this Commission's requirement. To this end, we have drawn maps that will. Our standard deviations are at 0, and the cities that would be in the 49th Congressional, the Assembly districts are Alhambra, Monterey Park, San Gabriel, Rosemead, South Monte, South Pasadena, San Marino, Arcadia, and Temple City, and various county areas. For the 60th Assembly District, the cities include El Monte, Industry, Walnut, Diamond Bar, and the city of Chino Hills outside of this county. The Chinese American Citizens Alliance redistricting proposals will enable Asian Americans to have a voice in governance. Favorable consideration of these proposed districts will end the premeditated voting discrimination against and the muting of Asian Americans in the San Gabriel Valley. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Number 12.
Good evening. My name is Charles Mao. I'm a retired faculty from UC San Diego and presently living in the city of Monterey Park. Today I'm Mayor Betty Tom Chu of the city of Monterey Park asked me to present her letter here to this commission. I've submitted 20 signed originals with you, which you should already have. So in the interest of time, I'll just go through parts of the letter from Mayor Tom Chu. Dear Mr. Chairman and members of the Commission, as the Mayor of the City of Monterey Park, the city with the largest percentage of Asian residents and 4/5 of the City Council members being Asian, I strongly support the redistricting plan for State Assembly District 4960, State Senate District 29, and U.S. Congressional District 32, as proposed by the Chinese American Citizens Alliance. This plan will enable Asian Americans who historically have had their voices muted in the political process to have effective and fair representation with an opportunity to select state and federal representatives of their choice. This plan meets each of the redistricting criteria set forth by this Commission, achieve each of the Supreme Court mandated goals, complies with the equal population requirements of the U.S. Constitution, and decreases the election-related discrimination prohibited under the Federal Voting Rights Act. On the other hand, the current districts do not meet all of these standards. Most importantly, this plan is fair, protects language minority status, and includes communities of interest reflective of the demographic changes, population movements, voter registration growth in the San Gabriel Valley area over the last 10 years. So on behalf of the residents of the city of Monterey Park, I respectfully request that this Commission protect voting rights of Asian American community and ensure equal representation by drawing district boundaries so that our neighboring cities and communities of common interest will be empowered to elect the state and federal elected officials who affect our quality of life. Thank you very much.
Good, sir. I think we have a question for you.
Yes. Good evening. And this can be, the previous speaker could answer this as well. It went so fast I didn't have a chance. I'm curious, do you know if Asian candidates have run in the existing 49 and 60th Assembly District or in the Senate district, or even the congressional, and run against non-Asian candidates and how they have done in those political races?
I think John can answer this question.
If I may, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
The enhancements of Asian Americans in the 49th and the 60th Assembly districts, as well as the Senate districts and the congressional district, strengthen the Asian American populations and of the voting powers. But it also enhances the other minorities in the surrounding areas. By making these districts stronger, it also makes the other minorities and other interests stronger also. So I don't think we have to fuse anything.
I think the question focused on the extent to which Asian Americans have run in the past in those areas.
Right. I'm not concerned about your your request to have an Asian district. I'm actually, one of the things we look at when we're doing when we're analyzing potential districts under the Voting Rights Act is one of the things we analyze is the voting in that district when it's configured the way it currently is. Does it present an obstacle for Asian American candidates to be able to win races? And
yes.
That's my question: is have there been races
yes.
That where in the current configuration that you think Asian candidates lost because of the way the districts were drawn? That's my question.
Absolutely, I believe so.
Can you give me some
examples? Many years ago, a candidate of Chinese descent run in the Chinatown community of Los Angeles, and he lost because he just did not have the voting powers and the people that would vote for him because it is more condensed with Hispanic voters, and he really didn't have a chance. Another example is a candidate that ran for the Senate district. I believe it was I forgot what district it was, but he lives in South Pasadena, and he ran, and he just didn't have the numbers. It just was not possible. I thought he was the best candidate.
Okay. Mr. Wong, if you could, if you have someone might look at the names and the people who ran so we would have that in our record, it would be very, very helpful. We don't need it now, but if you could just...
Yes, I do know their names. One is Mike Tin from South Pasadena, and the other one is gosh, I forgot his name, but it's on the tip of my tongue. But I will supply that to the commission. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. No. Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 13.
Good evening, Commission. My name is John G. I live in Monterey Park, and I'm a commissioner in the Arts and Culture and Economic Development. I'm here today to support the plan presented by the Chinese American Citizens Alliance. And that's because that the Asian American community has been a victim of willful and premeditated fragmentation. In a sense, the Chinese Exclusion Act has continued for Asian Americans because their vote as a people in communities has been severely diluted because they've been taken apart. So, let me say that, let me spell out a couple of things. First, from your targeted value for a district, these proposals vary 0%. The lowest is by 18 points. The highest, I think, is about 83. There is nesting involved. The 49th and the 60th districts will form the 29th state senatorial district. A reduced 29th district will form the 30th congressional district. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, thank you, sir.
Number 14.
Good evening. My name is Juana Torres, and I'm a longtime user of the San Gabriel Mountains. I've spent about 6 years in the San Gabriel Valley getting to know the beautiful lands and the communities that use them. I'm here to urge the Commission tonight to please consider uniting in a congressional district the public lands in the San Gabriel Mountains with the communities downstream that use the mountains the most. Please consider unifying the cities along the San Gabriel River, such as Azusa, Irwindale, Baldwin Park, El Monte, with the mountains that they use so regularly, because that's where a good portion of the visitors come from, that area, and currently have no say in how their public lands are managed. So I want to highlight this with an example. The San Gabriel River, which originates in the San Gabriel Mountains, is an incredibly important resource to many underserved families from the San Gabriel Valley. This portion of the river in the mountains is amazing. It's wild and scenic and provides a very unique opportunity for people from communities who lack open space, some of the communities I just mentioned, to be able to recreate in fresh, clean, free-flowing water. The tragic part is that these users have no voice or say in the way the river and the forest is managed because the current districts exclude them. And as a result, these communities suffer from terrible recreational conditions when visiting their national forest. Simple things like restrooms, rangers who speak Spanish, signage, and trails that lead to the water are absent. The communities who use the San Gabriel River and the mountains the most have absolutely no voice in how the river and the mountains are managed and in the type of services that are needed. However, if these communities were united in a district with the mountains, then they would have a voice for how the lands are managed. So just to quickly summarize, I'd like to recommend that the cities along the San Gabriel River, such as Azusa, Baldwin Park, Irwindale, form the core of a district that would extend north to the mountains.
Questions?
So, question, because the San Gabriel River goes a fair amount south, could you give us sort of a southern endpoint in terms of, you have to look at the foothills along the river, but it goes south.
If you could pull down the map just a little bit so that I can probably to include South El Monte and the Whittier Narrows area.
Really?
So South El Monte would probably be, yes.
So
roughly that would be a district that could go north and include the San Gabriel River watershed, and that's really where a lot of these families recreate, especially in the summertime.
So are you going as far south as Pico Rivera or that?
I would leave that to you. I don't know how far south. Yeah, I don't know. But I do know that these communities I mentioned make the greatest use of the San Gabriel River in the mountains and yet have no say in how the river is managed.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Number 15.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Keenan Sheedy, and I live in the Mount Washington section of northeast Los Angeles, and I'm going to be addressing the communities that are north and northeast of downtown Los Angeles. I live in Mount Washington. I've lived there for 21 years, and I've worked in Boyle Heights for 39 years at LA County USC Medical Center. Previous speaker referred to that. The largest public hospital west of the Mississippi, and provides health care for all 10 million LA County residents as a safety net, and in particular for the surrounding communities. I'm speaking in particular of communities starting from Boyle Heights and El Sereno in the east, Lincoln Heights, the Artist District, just close to downtown, Chinatown, Elysian Park, Mount Washington, Highland Park, Eagle Rock, Glassell Park, Echo Park, Silver Lake, and East Hollywood. The communities of northeast Los Angeles are some of the most vibrant neighborhoods in Southern California. If you look at some of the key thoroughfares, the streets from Cesar Chavez Avenue from the east through Sunset going into Hollywood, from Figueroa Street going north, from Broadway going north, these are characterized by many small businesses, community-owned businesses, local shopping. We have a vibrant artist community, art walks, community gardens. We're organizing for public transportation. You've heard testimony about pollution controls. These are neighborhoods that are vibrant communities. We're building civic unity. We have high school students that are very, very active in organizing in their communities for education. And we face many challenges in terms of health access, public transportation needs, pollution, and we really want to keep our communities together for effective representation. Thank you very much.
Any questions? You asked one question.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you have a copy of the communities, if you would give it to us in writing, please, that would be helpful.
Sure, I will forward that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We have another question.
Oh, sir, may I ask you one more question, please?
Sure.
We've heard over the last few days, actually, quite a bit of testimony about the area you're speaking of. One of the things I'm curious about, because there are so many changes that we see happening in those communities, I guess some of it you could call gentrification. Even the development of the Arts District is something relatively new. And I'm curious about how you see the area going forward, whether you see it retaining the interest that you're describing now, or do you see more change coming in that area?
I see it basically retaining and expanding in the direction that it's going, because there's so many people now who really have a sense of community. I spoke of the artists. People are opening local galleries. People don't have to go over to the west side to really see good art, and opportunities opening up for young people. We've had young people working on murals to restore property. So I think that that's the direction that the community is going. It's really going in local empowerment, developing local needs, and people staying in the community and building those communities. So I see it going in that direction.
So I believe you're in the 31st Congressional District, is that correct?
Yes.
Well, parts of the community you have described, but the Northeast
yes.
in general. Now, that Congressional District spreads pretty far south and west as well. Do you have anything to say about the Congressional District? I mean, in terms of that it covers an area that goes south and west, or, I mean, I'm just curious, because you've described your neighborhood well, mm-hmm. or the cities that you believe have a certain character. Mm-hmm. I'm just curious how that translates into political districts.
Yes, I think that if the Congressional District more closely approximated the neighborhoods that I've mentioned, I think it would be more effective. I understand, too, when I've seen the district, and I do live in 31st in Mount Washington, and when I've seen the district, I couldn't quite understand how some of the boundaries were drawn in terms of communities of interest. So I think that, and I can't quote a population figure to you, but I think that the communities I've outlined really have much more in common and would be more effective representation.
Thank you.
Next.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Number 16.
Hello and good evening. My name is Jasmine Vargas. I'm a resident of Highland Park and a frequent visitor to the San Gabriel Mountains. I've been in the San Gabriel working for the protection of the mountains, and specifically El Monte, Baldwin Park, and Azusa, just to name a few. I'm here tonight to urge this commission to act on behalf of the communities of interest adjacent to the San Gabriel River and the millions of people that use the San Gabriel Mountains for recreation, relaxation, and spiritual purposes annually. I recommend to this committee the unification of communities of interest along the San Gabriel River in the same congressional district, specifically El Monte, Baldwin Park, La Puente, along with the San Gabriel mountain range. To date, the experience for the millions of San Gabriel mountain users leave one left wanting. The area where the river is most visited has graffiti, scattered trash, no interpretive services, and unacceptable restroom facilities. As if that were not bad enough, the users also have no direct access to the stream, so they must scramble down boulders and climb down crumbling hillsides to reach their recreational sites. This to me is a gross disparity, considering most of the users of the San Gabriel Mountains and river are from communities that are predominantly Latino and Asian American and do not have accessibility, or as much as we would like, of open spaces. For many families in San Gabriel Mountains, since it is the nearest wilderness area in Los Angeles, is one of the only economically affordable outings that they can participate in. Unfortunately, because they are not official constituents of the mountains, therefore have no say in how they are managed, they cannot advocate for its future and its protection, its conservation. A situation that I hope will change as soon as the Commission deliberates on the matter. Thank you.
Question.
Yes, we have a question for you.
Again, I'm having a little trouble sort of getting the boundaries of this suggestion. So you mentioned La Puente, right?
Yes. Well, I've been all along the river and just kind of spreading out and trying to figure out, along with the community, who uses the mountain range. And a lot of people that live along the river that I've talked to are heavy users, which also leads me to believe that they should have a stake in the mountains. So I've also been to West Covina, Covina and La Puente, as well as South El Monte. And although I'm not exactly sure what the population parameters are of these areas, my main concern is that the people from the south of the mountain range have a say in how the mountain range is being used and managed, as well as the environmental protections that can be placed if the entire San Gabriel River would be in the same district, which means flowing north to south. That way we would be more representative of the people that care about the water quality of the river because its source is at the mountain, and ultimately the recreational uses of the mountain as well.
So just in terms of the geography, that would include, say, Baldwin Park, El Monte, South El Monte?
Yes, yes. South El Monte, and this is yes.
Okay.
Can I ask Ms. Boyle to put up the San Gabriel River a little stronger so I can see it?
It also flows through, it has little lakes as well. And it flows kind of southwest. Right. So, yes, that's right. It follows the 605 freeway.
Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much.
Number 17.
Number 17? Oh, yeah.
Number 18.
Oh, those were the...
18. Number 19. Number 20.
And if we could ask 21, 22, 23, and 24 to come up to the front rows.
Hello, I'm Dr. An York Lee. I have an acupuncture practice in Orange County, but I'm here tonight as a board member of Warner Valley Unified from 1997 to 2005. The district serves the city of Warner and Diamond Bar. I hope you keep Warner Valley District whole, as this community have both unique needs and a high concentration of Asian population. Warner is 64% Asian, Diamond Bar is 52%, Rolling High is 60% in Asian. This community lacks population for Assembly, Senate, and Congressional district yet. The Warner district is currently split in Congress. I care about education, so I want to give the Commission a tool to help define a unique education community of interest. I'm providing a map. This shows the academic performance score in the district I serve in and the region around it. The API is a school performance measurement system that is calculated using each school test result from the California standard test. The schools mapped out here are elementary school. The data is available to you at schoolperformancemaps.com. I'm not suggesting district line is solely based on API score, but it is easier for the legislator to solve problems each facing his constituent if there are similar problems in district that he or she represents. The blue and green symbol are those schools with rank 8 to 10 near the top. These are solely performance schools. Those that are red or orange are 1 to 3 near the bottom of the API. The student in those areas needs representatives who will fight for change and reform. As a resident of the East San Gabriel Valley, I hope you would allow our legislator to focus on keeping our school working as well. Please put our school and district with similar API schools together, such as La Hacienda High, La Puente, Buya, Yobalina in North Orange County and LA County border. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Number 21.
Good evening. My name is Wen Pei. I live in Walnut. I am a planning commissioner in the city of Walnut. I'd like to thank you for your dedication and contribution to get this important thing done. I'm here to actually make a very brief statement here. I'm here to urge you to seriously consider the following communities to be considered as have a common interest. City of Walnut, City of Diamond Bar, City of Chino Hills, City of Brea, Rolling Heights, and City of Industries. I've provided a map to the staff, put it up over there. The reason why, one of the reasons is I'm also, in addition to my planning commission activities, I'm also very involved in the school district. I'm the bond oversight committee chairperson for Walnut Unified School District. I have seen many parents and students coming from the cities I mentioned earlier, because Walnut School District is a school of choice, so people can come over. So the community that I mentioned earlier has many parents and students are interested in attending the school district here. And also I don't know if anybody here, I do shop over, my wife actually, shop over at Brea Mall, City of Chino Hills, like shops. So there's a lot of common interest, and I believe their churches over there has a lot of residents and go across different boundaries here. And the population, we had some calculation, is very similar to 460,000, 65,000. So that will be, you can really consider it as the next state assembly district here. Thank you for your time and listening. I really appreciate your effort, and I hope you're successful.
We'll have a question for you.
Yes.
Do you find that does the mountain range, essentially between Brea and Chino, separate the community at all, geographically?
Brea and Chino. There's like a Carbon Canyon Road, is like, from Chino Hills you go into, Brea, you go to Carbon Canyon. It's not that far, actually. And a lot of shoppings for where I always go to, my friends in Diamond Bars, we will go to Brea Mall. It's a very, nice area here. So I don't think that's a boundary here. I have an office
other than Carbon Canyon. I'm familiar with the area. I live in North.
Yeah, so maybe you can think about build a little expressway for us too. So yeah. So
not with this.
I'm looking at a common interest, but not like really a common road. Like Grand. Grand is really connecting Diamond Bar to Chino Hills. Carbon Canyon a little bit here, but I personally don't feel that it's a boundary, a burden for people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm sorry. One more question. You mentioned City of Industry as well, and
yes.
So industry kind of goes east-west quite a bit. So you want all of it within that same district?
Yeah, I think the map I provided, City of Industry, like there's maybe the east side of the City of Industry here. But let me kind of give you my life experience here. City of Industry, I spent a lot of money over City of Industry. Like they built nice shopping areas and 24-hour fitness right between Walnut and Diamond Bar. They got all our money, and we spend In-N-Out Burger, Chipotle's, but we live and dine together, on a daily basis here. So that is a living evidence of a common interest of a community here. So I'm glad you asked that question. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Pei, thank you very much. And
Could I ask one
Oh,
question?
Gavino has a question.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes. Is City of Industry where they're proposing the new football stadium?
I think yes. They're working on. I think there are two stadiums they're working on right now, LA and City of Industry. I don't know who's going to get it.
Yeah, I understand what the economic benefits would be for the area, but how about, do you have any thoughts on environmental impacts?
Being a planning commissioner, there's certain areas I don't want to comment because we're still in the negotiation time. So thank you. I have my personal opinion. We can talk afterwards. Okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Aguirre.
Mr. Pei, thank you very much. And I want you to know there are several members of this commission have the same situation relative to shopping.
Number 22.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Aziz Amiri. I am the resident of Rowland Heights. I am also the Commissioner of Los Angeles County Commission on Aging, and I can tell you all have a lot of wisdom on the table. I'm here actually to represent the businesses in the area. I'm the former president of the San Gabriel Valley Chamber of Commerce. And I want to talk to you today about the two sphere of influences in the area. One is the economic sphere of influence, and one is the social sphere of influence. And if you can look at the San Gabriel Valley, just like our previous speakers have spoken, there's one area particularly which this former speaker spoke about. The Rowland Heights, Diamond Bar, Chino Hills, Walnut have a sphere of influence that reaches down the 57 freeway corridor. Okay, that includes the city of Brea, Yorba Linda, Fullerton. And they have an interplay both in the social aspect of how people interact with each other, their influence in the community, and the economic influence, because north on 57 by the 10 freeway, there's a Pomona Valley Hospital. To the south, you have the St. Joseph Hospital. To the north on 57 and 10, you have Cal Poly Pomona. And to the south on 57, you have California State University Fullerton. So that's an interplay. The subset of this is social influence of the growing Chinese social and economic population. This area does not connect to the San Gabriel area of influence, which is San Gabriel City where we are and its surrounding community. The political, the social, the economic influence of this area is unique to this area. So when you're considering districting, you need to keep those two areas of influence in mind, that these two areas are not disenfranchised, merely to cut into pieces and combine. And I want to comment one on City of Industry that you asked. It has a population of about 700 people, okay? And most of the residents, I believe, live on the west side of Azusa Avenue, and to the east side of Azusa is strictly commercial and industrial. So you won't be able to split that in two. And that city exercises a lot of influence because I believe it produces about 70,000 jobs in the area. So keep that in mind. Thank you.
Any questions? Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Number 23.
Good evening. I'd like to thank you all for being here and hearing our voices tonight. My name is Tony Kim, and I'm here representing the Korean American community in the area of Walnut. And I'm here to suggest the unification of the areas of Fullerton, Brea, Walnut, Chino Hills, Diamond Bar, and Rowland Heights. For the last 15 years, Korean Americans have shared the same values, beliefs, and interests. Our children participate in the same extracurricular and cultural activities on the weekends. We frequent the same local shopping establishments and eateries. and we attend the same churches and take part in the same religious communities. In fact, I'll be joining my Bible study group a little late tonight after this. So I'm here to represent the community here tonight, and I ask you to make this district whole and to keep our community whole. Thank you.
Any questions? Jody?
Yes, excuse me. I'm grappling with this a little bit. I'm trying to understand what would you describe as your similar community of interest between Walnut and Chino Hills? And in particular, I'm thinking on the east side near the 71.
Well, I'm speaking on behalf of the Korean population, and there is a Korean presence in both of those areas, so that would be interlinked between those two.
And where's your the church? Do the Korean residents of those two cities, for instance, I'm looking at from what you had said, Walnut and Chino Hills, do they share a common church among those two communities?
My particular church is in Brea, and I know there's a couple of churches in the Diamond Bar, Walnut. I'm not too sure in the Chino Hills area. But I did include that because I know there is a substantial population of Korean Americans in that area.
I see. Thank you.
Thank you.
Speaker 24. Good evening, Commissioner. My name is Mary Sue. I'm the founder for the Chinese American Parent Association for the Walnut Unified School District, which covers Diamond Bar and Walnut. Tonight, I would like to ask you to keep the 60th district, which is City Industry, Lawton High, has Walnut, Diamond Bar, Chino Hill, Chino, Brea, Fullerton. The reason is because the Chinese American Association and the Chinese American Parent Association, we have a monthly meeting and we draw people from these different cities. We have common interests such as education, economic, culture, and we gather every month. Sometimes we try to help the community, try to help the school district, and we view this district together because it's a center of the East San Gabriel area. People from Fullerton, from Brea, from Chino Hill, and from Diamond Bar, Walnut, Lawton High, and City Industry. We kind of have the same. I'm talking on behalf of the Chinese American background. We share the same value. For example, our children, we send there to Sunday school, Saturday school, every single Saturday. And we gather like 20,000, 30,000 people every Family Festival, Lantern Festival, Dragon Ball Festival, New Year Festival. So this is the holiday that we all share together and draw people from Chino Hills, Brea, Fullerton, and Walnut, Diamond Bar, Lawton High, and maybe some of from City Industry. Thank you.
Yes.
Because I really am not this familiar with this area, I think I'm understanding, at least I hear what people are saying about these different cities that have a large Asian population that constitute, in your view, a community. Tell me what that means for you in terms of us drawing congressional districts or assembly districts or Senate districts. Are you currently separated and your desire is to be together, or can you, because that's what we will have to be doing.
Okay, I think the current district is doing a great job. The reason that I try to, represent the China American Association to address our opinion is because the reason we want to keep this together is because there's a good representative, and we would like to keep it that way. So he's an Asian American that we have someone is doing a good job to represent us, and we would like to keep it the same as before.
So you're advocating to keep things the way they are.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question for our technical team real fast, or maybe a commissioner who knows. The area that's below Diamond Bar above Brea, is that, I'm assuming it's unincorporated, is that the mountainous region that you were talking about? If so, I'm wondering, what are the characteristics of that area? How tall is the geographic boundary? I'm assuming that's what that is. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I can't understand you, and
Sorry, I know we can't understand you guys on this either.
Nicole, do you have
I'm just wondering what that
Google
part
Maps, or?
is right there.
There is a mountain range, but
Point of Hills, okay.
Well, to the south, and then Chino Hills to the east.
And how big are those hills? The hills? Okay, I'm just curious to get some perspective in terms of geographically why that's an open spot between these communities of interest. Okay, thank you.
Number 25.
Good evening. Appreciate the commission to be here tonight for the hearing. My name is Kevin Yan. I'm from the local San Gabriel Valley Boulevard, San Gabriel Valley. After I heard there's a hearing tonight, and I did some research online for the redistricting matters. I did find a lot of interesting and informative articles online, especially on the Commission's website. And here's a quote from the website I found. Quote, the public is encouraged to present testimony. Speaking up about your community is critical to ensure district lines are drawn to keep your community whole and group with nearby communities with similar interests. I have a great expectation to the Commission to follow the guideline and do a great job and to be fair to all the ethnic groups, especially in the San Gabriel area. According to the 2010 census, the demographic change in this area has been dramatic. A lot of people move into this area, including myself. I'm a September 11 victim. I work on Wall Street when the tragic attack happened, and I moved here after the tragedy. So I just want use the quote from your commission's website to hope you guys can follow the guideline here. And I also have a proposal / suggestions here for the redistricting. Chino Hills, Diamond Bar, Walnut, Roland Heights, Brea, City of Industry. Yeah. I hope we can keep this all the cities in the same district.
Okay, and if you have any materials you want to leave with us, we'll make sure they're recorded.
Who should I leave it to?
The gentleman right there is coming to meet you.
Yeah, I noticed you didn't mention Fullerton. A couple of previous speakers have mentioned Fullerton in that list of cities. I'm just curious if there's a reason you left it out.
There's no specific reason. This is close to the way it is now, and then the same as the previous speaker, Mary Sue. I like to keep the way it is as now. So.
Thank you very much,
because
sir.
I like change. I like change. I'm a new generation. I like change, but I think the way it is now is pretty good for my community, for me, for myself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Number 26.
Good evening, members of the Commission. My name is Albert Chang. I'm here to speak on behalf of my community of interest. My community of interest is Chino Hills, Roland Heights, Walnut, Brea, Fulton, and parts of the City of Industry. And Diamond Bar, of course. I'm not going to give you a lot of statistics because you probably can find that online, and a lot of people are going to give you that. What I'm going to do is take you through my community of interest. The reason I say my community of interest is because I've been in this community. I mean, this is my community. I don't get out much, as you can see. This is when I got here, I get lost because I don't get out. But no, seriously, when I say my community of interest, because it's typical, but of all my neighbors, all my friends, this is where everybody live around me. This is what we do, and I like to take the opportunity to become your eyes and ears for the next couple minutes or a minute and a half now, to show you what my family does, what my neighbors, all my friends do every day, and that's hopefully you can see why should be stay as a community of interest. I live in Chino Hills. And it's very close to get to Brea, to answer your question already. I live in Chino Hills. I take my kids to go to school in Chino Hills. I have 2 children. After I drop them off, I go to work. I work and I go through Diamond Bar and drive through Diamond Bar, go to Roland Heights. I've been living in Chino Hills for about 14, 15 years. But I've been working in Roland Heights for about 20 years. And I do volunteer work among SAC in Walnut, and I teach Taekwondo with my kids in Diamond Bar, and I eat all over Roland Heights, Diamond Bar, Walnut, and Brea. And of course, my wife and my daughter loves to shop in Brea every weekend. So basically, it is my community, it is our community. We like to have the way it is. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that personalization of it. It's very interesting. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Number 27.
Hi, my name is Siwen Tai. I'm the president of Roland High Chinese Association. Thank you for this opportunity to let me speak on behalf of the Chinese Association. Chinese Association was started 21 years ago by a group of Chinese American residents from Roland Heights, and our focus is to promote and maintain the unity in the community. And our board member, we have 12 board members, and we conduct the board meetings on a monthly basis. And in the past years, we have a very strong connections with the Roland Unified School Districts, the teachers and the parents. And we also assist the newly arrived Chinese American families, and we encourage the Chinese Americans to involvement with the local officials. And also, we issue a newsletter in Chinese twice a year to over 5,000 residents and business owners in Roland Heights. And this year, we will conduct the Babo Days Parade. This parade is one of the biggest events in Roland Heights. It's over 39 years history. And Roland Heights is next to Diamond Bar, Hacienda Heights, and Walnut. And the primary language spoken in this area is Chinese. And we think it's very important for Roland Heights to stay with the neighborhoods in the same district. Thank you very much.
Any questions? Thank you very much.
Number 28.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Josh Lee. I represent the Korean American community in the Inland Empire, which is, you can just leave the map out there. I'll probably speak on the same issue. As a Korean American Association board member, in the past we have seen, for example, in Koreatown in LA, disenfranchised by various political districts. If you see of Koreatown, it's a great example of how disenfranchisement happened. If the Koreatown in LA is divided basically into half by Congressional District 33 and 31st. And also, if you look at the Assembly District in Koreatown, it's divided, depending on how you look at the district, it's divided into 5 different Assembly Districts. See, I don't want to see that happen out here in the Inland Empire again. So I want to support our Chinese American community and join with them in supporting being together for Diamond Bar, Walnut, Roland Heights, Chino Hills, Brea, and Fullerton. And Commissioner Weber, if I may just address your question before, Chino Hills in the last 10 years have been growing, and most of the Asian Americans from Diamond Bar and Roland Heights area and Brea area have moved to the Chino Hills area. And 25% last census had 25% of the Asian Americans living in Chino Hills, 25% of the population being Asian American out there. I'm sure in 2010, with the new data, I'm sure it has grown to 30 or plus percentage. And most of the people who live in Chino Hills, don't be fooled by the open space that's out there. If you look further to the east, there's also a bigger open space which is called Prado Dam, which is more of a natural block going to the riverside area, as you well know, from Cape Coast and Norco. So with that, I want to, and also the Fullerton area, Chinese American community is not a big presence out there, but the Korean American community is. That's why I included Fullerton in there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Thank you very much, sir.
Number 30.
It's a pleasure to speak before the commission again. I live in the San Gabriel Valley, actually live in the city, so I'm very familiar with the area. Just one point. In this particular area, you have clear Section 2 issues. You have a number of districts currently which are significantly part of the district that currently have representation with Latino members, the 22nd Senate, the 24th, and the 30th. You have the 56th, 61st, 58th, 57th, and you have the 38th Congressional, the 39th, and then the 32nd is a minority Latino voting rights seat. So my point is that you have issues of both potentially packing and cracking, very serious issues here where they fall under Bartlett, which is basically the latest Supreme Court case where they meet the 50% criteria. And that's a federal issue, and supremacy is the federal law in terms of those issues. So I think you need to pay very close attention. You have also a Section 2 district, I believe, for the Asian community, the 49th. And John Wong went through a number of the cities in there. I just saw it, so I had a nice chat with him, and I'm going to talk to him because we've worked together before. But 8 of the cities I know very well, which, if you look at them, Temple City, if you look at Monterey Park, San Gabriel, Rosemead, Alhambra, you look at Arcadia, San Marino, South Pass, I know all those areas. But the issue I wanted to bring up when you talk about the mountain region, Claremont, Laverne, San Dimas, Glendora, Monrovia, Sierra Madre, if you go and look up their socioeconomic characteristics, you look at demographics, you find that Azusa is different. It has a potential Section 2 violation if you take it and put it in there. I'm just letting you know.
Okay, thank you very much.
Number 31.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ben Lee. I'm the Corporate Counsel and Corporate Attorney and living in the city of Chino Hills. And my office is in the city of Industry. So I'm from the 60th District. And tonight I just want to urge you to keep the district intact. The reason I want to say that is I just want to tell you a little bit my personal experience because I'm a corporate lawyer. So I help a lot of Chinese companies to move to this community. The reason I can do that, one of the key factors is that, in this community, it provides a lot to it's very business-friendly community. We have a lot of business organizations which help the new coming businesses to grow. And also we have a lot of good community organizations which can help the CEOs and the corporation managers, families to raise to have a very enjoyable, very homey life. And also we have very good educational after-school programs in this community, and that will help the Chinese Americans that are very focusing on their family education, their education. So education after-school program has been very good. So that's why this is a very friendly, very good community for the new businesses. I helped many companies in the last 10 years to come to this community to set up, and which help a lot for the business growth and also to lower the unemployment rate in this community. The second issue I want to urge you to consider is in the bigger picture, which is in San Gabriel Valley, the entire San Gabriel Valley, which has the largest Chinese community in the entire nation of the United States, at least from our perspective. And I want you to really consider, because Chinese have a weak point, which is they are very lackadaisical in participating in the local businesses and in the national business. So I want you to really pull them together, consolidate these communities, and let them to group together so they have stronger political power. And thank you very much.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Thank you very much, sir.
Number 32.
Good evening. My name is Jack Chen, the president of American Chinese Business Association. We're an organization comprised of community leaders, business owners, company CEOs, and many different professions from Chino Hill, Chino, Walnut, Diamond Bar, Walnut Heights, Brea, Fullerton. We meet mostly to help each other, and we share many common values, such as education, promote better business environment and opportunity to how to help our community. We would like to ask you to keep this assembly district as one district. Please say amen. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Number 33.
Good evening, members of the Commission. My name is Barbara Messina. I am currently on the Alhambra City Council. I have served 16 years on the City Council and 8 years on the school board. I say that because it's important that we keep our school districts. I provided you maps of our school district and our city. Our 49th Assembly District is perfect. It's made up of cities that have common interests, and we work well together. I would like to see our Senate District, which is an absolute nightmare, changed. It should reflect what our Assembly District is made up of, so that if you took the 49th and the 58th Assembly Districts and made that into our Senate District, it would be perfect. You currently have the Alhambra Unified School District serves most of Monterey Park, and they are divided into the Montebello School District, so that if you took those two assembly seats and made it a Senate seat, you would keep those school districts under the same boundaries. And it really does make a difference when you have your representatives representing the same constituents. As far as the congressional district goes, we are currently in the 29th, which is kind of a disadvantage for that representative because he serves two valleys, the San Fernando Valley and the San Gabriel Valley, and we do not have similar interests. It would really be helpful to us if the 32nd Congressional District represented the San Gabriel Valley cities at our end. Then it would be a perfect world for us. So I'd really appreciate your considerations. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, what was the other assembly district, the 49th and?
The 58th.
58th, thank you.
Which would take in the school districts that Montebello and Monterey Park take in. Thank you.
Ms. Messina, let me ask you.
Sure.
Just a point of clarification. How does these representations help your district?
Well, commonalities that we have in the cities in the 49th Assembly District, to give you an example, we all belong to the West San Gabriel Valley YMCA, which services the cities of Alhambra, San Gabriel, Monterey Park, Rosemead, and El Monte. And we all serve on the board there and work together. So it really makes it, a lot more pleasant and productive. Currently, our Senate seat boundaries Los Angeles. While we do have a common border, we have no commonalities with the Los Angeles City Council. So that really is a very bad boundary for us. It's very gerrymandered, so we really hope you will fix that one. Thank you.
Thank you.